lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing The Secret in Vault 13. This is a Doctor Who children's book. It's J-fiction, so like upper elementary to middle school is the reading level, although obviously it can be enjoyed by anybody. The writing in this is by David Solomon. There are illustrations at the beginning of each chapter, and those are done by George Ermos. Like that. So this follows the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and she's traveling with Graham, Yaz, and Ryan. You don't have to have seen the show to jump into this, although obviously it is way more fun if you've seen these episodes and you know who the companions are. It does a little bit of introducing them, but not a whole lot, but that's kind of par for the course with Doctor Who. We're just jumping in and assuming you've watched at least the first episode with these characters. The Doctor's changed. The Doctor's a woman. There's really not much reference to that in this. A couple of times she'll make comments about having been a man or about what it's like to be a woman, but I really think it's only like 2 times. It doesn't happen often. This one really takes advantage of the fact that Doctor Who happens in all of space and time. We have the Doctor and her companions in the TARDIS, and they get a distress signal from one of Graham's potted plants. It's a begonia, and it starts talking. It is in the TARDIS at the time, so it has to do with the TARDIS's telepathic circuits and psychicness, science-y, Y&C. Anyway, the begonia gives them this message from this race called the Gardeners, which are plants. And they need help. There is a threat to their galactic seed vault. So they have this store of every seed in the galaxy, maybe the universe. I don't know how far the gardeners have traveled, but there is a rogue gardener who wants to destroy everything in creation. And there is one seed in the vault that can do that. If it is thrown into a sun, it will start growing, and when it grows, it becomes a black hole that just sucks in everything. All of it. Nothing's going to exist, and we're going to restart the universe if that happens. So the Doctor and her companions need to stop him, and the way they do it is by finding these 3 keys to the vault. Yeah, that sounds an awful lot like one of the classic Doctor Who series, and it does reference the Key to Time series in here, and the Doctor even makes a reference to, hey, I did that once before, but it was 6 before. So if you've seen classic Doctor Who, that is one of the 4th Doctors. Overall story arcs for an entire season was with him and Romana trying to find these keys of time to like save the universe. So kind of a similar theme, except there's only 3 of them. Also, children's book, and there's a lot going on, so we find the keys relatively quickly. The entire book is pretty fast paced. It's got large print, it's got pictures, it's only 290 pages to begin with. Anyway, that is the basic plot of the story. Is the Doctor trying to figure out the mystery of where these keys are and trying to find them before the bad plant space alien finds it first and destroys everything. It's got lots of interesting adventures. Also seems like they're trying to throw in as much Doctor Who references as possible. Here's what the gardeners look like. They're basically giant trees. One of Christopher Eccleston's episodes has like the Earth exploding, and they're on like a spaceship, and there's like a tree person on the spaceship. Oh, I can't remember which episode it is. That's what I was picturing. But basically, they're plants, and they like to garden and take care of other plants. They really like being out in nature, and they're a really interesting species to have a plant-based organism, sentient being with spacecrafts, and can like do things like create a galactic seed vault. The journey takes them to other places in time and space to find these, and they have to face villains and bad guys in like little mini episodes, mini story arcs in here. Subplots, that's what they're called. So there are subplots where the Doctor is going looking for these keys, and it's not just the plants, but I don't want to spoil what happens. Like I said, it's really short, it's really quick, so I don't want to get too much into like where they find the keys. I feel like that's too spoilery, and what adventures they have to go on, so it's really interesting. There's also a thing with the TARDIS, when you flip it, it like moves, but I couldn't get it to do it in the video. Like I couldn't figure out how to hold the book so that it happens there, kind of. The TARDIS also moves down the page and like dematerializes and rematerializes somewhere else. which I thought was really fun. It took me a while to figure out why the TARDIS was moving up and down the page. And then I flipped and I'm like, oh, it's a flip book. I like it. It was just a fun adventure, really quick, really fast paced. We do get some insight into the characters and exploring who Yaz, Ryan, and Graham are, as well as the new Doctor. There are tons and tons and tons of references to things that happened in the Doctor Who universe, planets that they visited, people that they've met, places they've been. Some of them are like throwaway lines, like, I'm pretty sure we never met that person. The Doctor's just making reference to where she learned magic or something. But some of them are direct references to like Zygons, Dialects, Weeping Angels. And it's a bit strange to have them all thrown in here because season 11, Chris Chibnall is purposely trying to avoid that stuff in the show. Although occasionally there are references to other adventures the Doctor's had. But like this was like so much. It's like they funneled all of those references they couldn't put in the series and just stuck them in this one book. Kind of that felt like. I personally enjoyed seeing references to things, especially the classic Doctor villains like the Candyman, just randomly being mentioned for no reason, not because it's part of the plot, or the fact that this is based off, or the fact that this is essentially the plot line to the Key to Time series, except plants. I loved it. It's fun. I was going back and forth between 3 and 4 star ratings. I think I gave it to 3 stars, but really it's in between there somewhere. Yeah. It's also like it's a children's book. You don't have to read it as a child. Also, some of the new series adventure books are written at a children's or written for like a younger audience anyway. Like I think The Forgotten Army has tons and tons of fart jokes in it, and they're talking about a mammoth. Like that was definitely written for younger audience to begin with. So we're already like in the Doctor Who universe with all these books being at different reading levels and different like audiences anyway. Each of the characters gets their moment to shine and gets their moment to kind of save the day, because there's so many different subplots and so many different villains they have to fight and problems they have to solve. Yeah. So yes, I enjoyed The Secret of Vault 13. I do recommend it. It is child appropriate, which is good since it's a J fiction novel. Yeah, this is also the first book I've read with the 13th Doctor in it so far, so that was also interesting. It just sounded like more. It was like a bigger catch to like have a children's book because there aren't that many. I don't think there are any other J fiction Doctor Who novels yet. Hopefully there'll be more. Yeah. So let me know in the comments below if you have read this, if you know more about the gardeners as a species. Do you like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor in the first place? Also, the TARDIS is my favorite companion, and so she plays a pretty big part of the story. But it's towards the end, and I don't want to spoil. But I was excited that the TARDIS got to shine too, and it wasn't just the ship. I love the fact that the TARDIS has got her own personality and like has her own opinions about things that she lets us know in different ways. And I love the way she lets us know in this book. I love seeing the TARDIS communicate. The TARDIS communicating with the Doctor and the companions is like the best whenever it happens. It's so rare, but when it does, it's like I live for that. So peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.